Marvel fans, this one's crazy. I did not expect this. A massive new report is out there about Kevin Feige's plan for Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. We've got a confirmation of the solo Scarlet Witch movie. There's apparently 2 more shows happening with Wanda, and Wanda is confirmed to have a massive role in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and in the Mutant Saga. And in this video, I want to go over all of that. And I will also draw from different things we've heard in leaks and rumors or comments that insiders or actors have made. This is pretty crazy. This is a massive amount of content being built around the Scarlet Witch. I think that's a good move, and I'll also explain why as we go through all of this. So check out this tweet here from My Time to Shine Hello, and we're going to focus on the first part of the tweet first. She says Marvel Studios has big plans for Wanda/Scarlet Witch, which include a solo movie, 2 more WandaVision spin-off series, and we'll talk about the second half in a minute. But let's just focus on the first half here, the movie and 2 more shows. And this is another piece of evidence that confirms a solo Scarlet Witch movie. This has long been rumored, but it was spoiled by Production Weekly a couple of months ago. And then insider Daniel RPK was talking about the solo Scarlet Witch movie as well, saying that it will probably go into production in 2026. And so what Shine is saying here is that is absolutely real, and it is a part of this big plan that they have for Wanda. And frankly, guys, I think this is cool. I also think the timing on this is great. Right now, the Agatha show is on, and that clearly has something to do with Billy and Wiccan and Wanda herself. And Elizabeth Olsen recently started doing interviews where she's talking about Wanda Maximoff, talking about the Scarlet Witch once again, suggesting that she would be open to returning. And so what it seems like is the WandaVision show is feeding into the Agatha show, which will then feed into the Vision Quest show and the Wonder Man show. And that's all likely to build to some stuff that will be explored in the Wanda Maximoff Scarlet Witch movie. I also wanted to bring up that it seems like this movie is going to be a Battleworld film, meaning this will be a film that takes place between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And the setting of this movie is likely to be on Battleworld, or at least not in the regular 616 MCU. And the only thing we know about that Scarlet Witch movie is that she's likely to be fighting Chthon, the first demon. And I think a lot of the stuff that's happening in these different shows surrounding the Darkhold is going to build up towards that, and it will also be a way for the Wanda character to regain her agency and kind of redeem herself, right? Because we all know the Darkhold corrupted her in Multiverse of Madness, but they could put a really fine point on that and have the audience understand that further via this actual Scarlet Witch movie. And also, if Wanda is supposed to play a big role in Doomsday and in Secret Wars, which I think will be connected to magic and Doctor Doom's knowledge of magic, well, if that is the case, then the Scarlet Witch Battleworld movie is much more than filler. That's going to be a very important film, and I'm starting to get the feeling that these Battleworld movies are going to be a huge freaking deal. But now let's talk about the shows, right? Because Shine says there are 2 more WandaVision spin-off shows, and she later clarified that these are beyond Vision Quest and Wonder Man. And this seems to have something to do with the big plan that they are building up for the Scarlet Witch. And so these shows are going to further flesh out aspects of her character or perhaps aspects of her power. And these are shows that will probably have Elizabeth Olsen in them. I mean, we don't really think she's going to show up in Agatha or Vision Quest or Wonder Man, although she is going to be a large part of the plot and the motivation for the characters in those shows. But if these 2 new shows are spin-offs of WandaVision and they're important for the overall plan, then I think Wanda's going to be involved. And another reason that I think these shows will be like a bigger deal with Elizabeth Olsen is because Marvel's trying to shift away from what they did in Phase 4 with shows. I think Daredevil, Born Again, X-Men 97, and Loki Season 1 and 2 are more of the format that Marvel wants to do, right? They really want these well thought out shows that are very involved and kind of more like a conversation than a movie that is adapted to the television or streaming format. Now, as far as what shows these could be, my first guess would be a children's crusade or young Avengers show. We've known for some time that Kevin Feige wants to build up the young Avengers, but we also know that a lot of the things that were supposed to build those characters up were not very successful. This being like the Ms. Marvel show, the Marvels movie, even the Hawkeye show, like just we were not really actually getting the success. And so that whole Young Avengers thing seems to be in flux. A lot of insiders are saying it is still going to happen, but I think you could see Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios take what was maybe going to be a movie and turn it into a Disney Plus series instead. Especially because a lot of the Young Avengers comic book plots do surround Billy and Wiccan and basically their connection to the Scarlet Witch. And frankly, I think involving Wanda and having it really focus on her and magic, that's a great idea. So maybe it will be a Young Avengers show. I also think there's a chance here that it's connected to the mutants, right? Because we could see these shows take place after Secret Wars and be basically set in the new MCU, because of course there are major rumors that the MCU is going to sort of soft reboot after Secret Wars, and essentially the canon of 616 will be changed so that mutants, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and the Avengers all exist within the same universe. And maybe because Wanda plays this major role in Secret Wars, she will be one of the characters that actually remembers the old universe, and maybe that will have something to do with this series and mutants and the fear that mankind has of mutants in that show. Or maybe it'll just be a show that's kind of Loki style, where they'll give her something crazy to do outside of the canon, and it's just really going to explore her character in the same way that they did Loki. A lot of mystery, a lot of possibilities, and I'm frankly excited to see what these shows are going to be. I expect them to be way cooler than like Echo, Agatha, and Ironheart, and even a lot of the other shows that they did for Disney Plus. Okay, but now let's talk about the back half of the report, the back half of the tweet from My Time to Shine. She says, in addition to the spin-offs and the Scarlet Witch movie, she will have a major role in the next Avengers films and the Mutant Saga. And oh my God, this is really exciting to hear. I think after WandaVision, many of us Marvel fans thought that Wanda was going to be big time important for Secret Wars. She was going to be the Molecule Man or something like the Molecule Man. And although now it seems like they're going to go in the direction of anchor beings instead of whatever the Nexus beings were, I'm still really excited that Wanda's going to have a big role in the next two Avengers movies. That could mean that it would be our Wanda or variants of Wanda, perhaps many different variants of Wanda's, because we've already seen some in the Multiverse of Madness. And I think this will be connected to Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is very powerful with magic, and in fact, I have a kind of theory here that would make it so the RDJ Doctor Doom variant was actually in love with a Scarlet Witch from his universe, and then that Scarlet Witch is taken away or destroyed by some multiversal power because, of course, Wanda is crazy freaking powerful, and maybe that's a thing that like sets RDJ Doctor Doom on a crazy rampage, because that would be a great way to build emotional connection between RDJ's Doctor Doom and our Wanda Maximoff if she comes back to life. I also have this theory that some beings in the universe will essentially become embodiments of the Infinity Stone. So Loki in God of Stories Loki seems to be the embodiment of the Time Stone, and Wanda with her chaos magic, especially when using the Darkhold, seems to embody the Reality Stone as far as reality warping power. So if Marvel is going in a direction of actually bringing infinity beings to the MCU to fight against RDJ's Doctor Doom, then Wanda Maximoff as the reality being, perfect. I also still have this feeling that Secret Wars itself will see Wanda in some big role, very important to defeating Doctor Doom, and that is probably why her solo movie will be so important for setting that up. Basically, there are all sorts of ways that the Scarlet Witch could be used very effectively and in a very interesting way for both Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. But it is the last part of this scoop that gets me the most excited, and that would be that Wanda is supposed to have a major role in the Mutant Saga. So if you didn't know this, the plan for Kevin Feige and Marvel is to actually have the next saga after the multiverse saga be the Mutant Saga. And this will show the mutants as a big cornerstone of this big epic arc. And of course, we will get the buildup of the X-Men and maybe other mutant teams on 616. I think you might even see a scenario in which they don't do Avengers movies for a while and instead are doing X-Men movies. And that's the big franchise, the big team that we're going to follow different MCU stories through. too. But I also think the plan will be to set the mutants on a big cosmic crazy journey, probably fighting against the Celestials and the Eternals. There are long-standing rumors that Kevin Feige Marvel Studios wants to build up a scenario that's similar to the Judgment Day event that recently happened in Marvel Comics. The TLDR here was this was an event that showed that the X gene mutation was actually a version of the deviant gene mutation. And that meant that all mutants were essentially deviants and therefore the enemy of the Celestials and the Eternals. And so bringing Wanda into that kind of a scenario is really interesting. Wanda will be very powerful, most likely. And perhaps in the soft reboot, she will actually be the daughter of Magneto, and that will actually be important to the canon as well. Like, I love that aspect of Wanda, so I'm hoping we get to see that too. Wanda's children being mutants could be a really interesting part of either a Young Avengers series or just some kind of major conflict in which, you know, the United States or the Sentinel program or something wants to come after her kids. Frankly, I just think Wanda's a great character. I think Elizabeth Olsen is awesome as the character, so I'm super excited that we're going to get a lot more of her building up to Secret Wars and then even beyond it in the soft rebooted MCU. Who knows? Maybe this will actually explain the Ralph Boner situation. Maybe there's something more going on with Wanda and the mutants and why there's none in the 616 or something like that. Either way, these are massive updates. If you are a fan of the Scarlet Witch, if you are a fan of Elizabeth Olsen in the MCU, then you should feel pretty good about this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.